Welcome back to Mommas Who Lead. I'm your host, Laura Caroffino, and this isn't your average motherhood podcast. This is a movement for purpose-driven women who are building legacies at home and in the world. And today we're diving deep into something every mom struggles with, how to take care of ourselves without the guilt, the extremes, or even the overwhelm. And we're talking about holistic habit building that actually works for real women with real lives. Women who want to feel better, lead better, and live with more energy and confidence. Because here's the truth, you can't pour from an empty cup, and self care isn't selfish. It's essential for the leader, the mom, and the woman you're called to be. And speaking of incredible women who've mastered this balance, I'm thrilled to introduce you to a sweet, good friend of mine, Rachael Towne. Rachael is a wellness mentor who's passionate about helping women feel their best through balanced nutrition, mindset shifts, and sustainable healthy habits. As a mom and a team builder herself, she leads with authenticity. That words are hard for me today. And
Hey, just
heart.
cut it out and go back in.
It's okay. I'll leave it in. But so Rachel, she is showing other women how to create impact without burnout. And what I absolutely love about Rachel is that she doesn't preach perfection. She actually teaches practical, sustainable approaches that work for busy moms who are trying to do this, that, and just everything. And so she's living proof that you can prioritize your wellness while still showing up powerfully for for your family and your calling. So Rachel, welcome. So glad to
Thank
have
you.
you.
I'm so happy to be here. I've been, I love watching you. I love listening to you. And when we were talking the other day and you're like, well, would you like to be a guest? I'm like, absolutely. Your mission is so on point with my mission. And let's talk together. Let's help these people that listen and want to be their best and maybe feel like they're guilty for even wanting to be better. And let's get together and talk to them. So I am very excited for all of our listeners and our viewers and to hang out with you for a little while.
Oh, well, I'm so glad to have you here. So, can
Thanks.
you tell us and our listeners a little bit about more about you, about your origin, like where are you from, and how you became so passionate about wellness and helping women?
It's funny when we were talking about this the other day, and I'm like, when did this happen? And I think it was a series of events. So I'm from a very, very remote rural town, like 150 people population, very, very small, tip top northern New York, up by Canada and Vermont. And when I was up there, I got pregnant for my first son, and I worked with a doula. And so this is where it started because I was raised rather holistically, but I didn't acknowledge it because it was just normal upbringing. Like that was that. My doctor had a little practice in his home. I would go to his home and if I was sick, like it was very 1940s feel now that I reflect on it, but I didn't know that was different. Um, and then that's how I was raised. We had all of our family had our own animals. We'd all go in, we'd share the food. That was just it. And then I got pregnant, and then I started going to doctors, real doctors, big like hospitals and stuff. And I was to be the best mom, I had to do everything that they said, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll definitely do these things. And then I was working with a doula. And she was like, well, be careful, be careful. We also want to be our own advocate. I was like, wait, what? And she's like, you have to educate yourself. And it came to my baby shower. And she said, what would you like for your baby shower? And I said, keep in mind, this woman actually, she was in the one of the most influential health women, the top 100 in the nation. She was listed.
Oh,
Gail Oaks is her name. I didn't even know. She's like this super holistic midwife. But anyway, I didn't know any of this. She was just my friend's mom, and she was my doula. And I told her that for my baby shower, I wanted the Johnson and Johnson white bottle, purple lid, baby lotion, body wash, and all the things. And she was like, no, you don't. And I'm like, oh, I do. It smells so good. My nephew used it. I loved giving him a bath. And she's like, no, you don't. And she sent me home with a packet of papers, like this much of all of the endocrine disruptors and like so much research. And I actually have my master's degree in research and technology. And so I was interested, but my focus prior to that had been psychology and education. I was a math teacher. And so this was all new territory for me. And I started researching and I started digging into it. And then my eyes got really open. And then honestly, I went a little over the deep end for about 5 years. Super obsessive. No sugar in the house. Oh my gosh, don't you dare look at my child with a candy cane in your mouth. I went a little crazy. Mid 20s. I think that's pretty common for ladies that are on their
Yes.
first, second children. They're like, I have to be perfect, which perfect for this. We are not perfect, and it's okay. It's okay. But that's kind of where it started. No, that's exactly where it started. And then it continued on. After my second child, I had a plethora of health issues. I was diagnosed with OCD, panic disorder. I had a mole on my arm that they were sure was melanoma. I went in to get it looked at. They're like, it needs to come off today. And I'm like, okay, oh my gosh, okay. And then they brought in like three doctors and they took it off and I didn't get the results for 3 weeks. So in that 3 weeks, and I have a 2-month-old baby, and my husband had been in a head-on collision in a motorcycle. Like it was like thing after thing after thing. And then it was a blue nova. It was nothing. It was no problem, which apparently is a very benign, abnormal mole. It's not, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. Actually, my son had one as well. So I don't know. Maybe there's some genetic thing there. But all of these things led to a lot of mental distress, honestly. After, I think it was, well, when my husband got in his motorcycle accident, it was when I was 9 months pregnant with my second child. He was helivac to the hospital, to the big hospital far away from where I was. And I was driving 9 months pregnant hours to go see him. And then I went into early labor. And, it was a lot of different things. And my body was just over it. Everything went crazy. Hormones went
I'm
crazy.
sure.
I developed postpartum hyperthyroid. I weighed 110 pounds a week after my child. I'm not a small person. I've always been about 130, 140. So this was like, what is happening? Where are my legs? I remember I dropped something in my lap and I went to close my legs naturally to catch it and it fell through. And I was like, where are my where are my legs? And that's when I
Oh
went to the
gosh.
doctor, like something's happening. But all of those challenges that I faced were amazing opportunities for growth. And I hadn't seen them at that, I didn't see them in that perspective, in that light at that point. But we typically don't, right? When we're going through big changes, big struggles, big challenges, a lot of the time it's easy to be like, oh my gosh, my world is crumbling around me and I just want it to be over. I want this to be over. Where if we can embrace it and be like, this is an awesome opportunity for me to practice gratitude for what I do have. This is maybe preparing me for further challenges in my life that might be harder than this. If you can kind of shift your perspective a little bit,
Mm.
even now, and even right now, you guys that are watching this or listening to this, you might be thinking, I've got something going on in my life right now that, God, quite honestly, it sucks. It sucks, and I'm sick of it. Well, I get it. You probably do. We all have, every single one of us, we can't escape this life without going through challenges, but it's nice to be able to think, I'm not alone. This isn't the first or the last time a challenge is going to hit me. How can I spin it so that this is a growth opportunity for me? And anyway, so I got better and better. That was, shoot, my baby's 14 now. So it was a while ago. And I really dug into personal development, things like this. Like you guys right now, you're listening. Things like this. This is what I started doing. YouTube, podcasts, Spotify. Audible wasn't really much of a thing, but I'd get my books and I'd read with my eyes and I'd flick my finger and flip the page and I just pouring into myself, and daily yoga. Honestly, yoga was a big part of my coping skills. I love it. I actually, quite honestly, Monday, I had a terrible day. Like I just woke up and I was grumpy. And my husband's traveling, and that's a big part of it. I don't like it when he's not here. And which is, I
Mm.
have to accept it. He isn't always here. It's okay. He isn't always going to be here, things like that. But Monday was just a grump and I could not shake it. And I did a nice vigorous yoga session in the morning. And then I was eating very well. I was like, okay, you're going to fuel everything you can put in your body that's good for your body, that's nourishing, that's, gonna do all the good things. Wasn't really working. But you know what I started to do, which I know not to do, but I was doing it anyway? I'm just being a bee. I can't get out of this fog. And I started telling myself these things. But the problem is, when you start telling yourself those things, they become reality. And so that is what ended up happening. And then the evening, it was 5 o'clock. I ate dinner early because I was like, screw it. I'm gonna go to bed early. It was 4:30, guys. 4:30. And I'm like, I'm going to bed like soon. My kids are just gonna have to deal with it. I don't even care how they go to bed. Don't care if they're tucked in. Don't care if they brush their teeth. I'm going to bed early. But then I ate and I was like, no, Rach, you got to do something about this. So I looked yoga sessions near me. I was like, well, let's try a new yoga studio. Maybe I just need some other moms. Maybe I need to be around some women. It's been a while since I've like physically been around people. It's been a couple weeks, but I like to be around people. And I went to this new studio, 3 minutes from my house, whoop, right there. Didn't even know it existed, and it's right next to my favorite donut shop. I don't know how I never saw it, but anyway, so I walked in, and oh my gosh, this one, Brienne. Brienne welcomes me. She's not even the instructor. She's just a yoga person. Actually, she's practicing to become a yoga instructor, but she was the sweetest little thing. Early 20s, I'd guess maybe 23 or 4, has a new baby, 6 month old. And she was showing me all the things, and she was just so sweet. And then I chose to put my mat next to hers, and the energy was amazing. And I came home and I was like, yes, like I just needed women. I needed to practice with other women. And so sometimes we just have to say, enough is enough. You have to do something proactive to get out of this situation. So that's a long story of where I became, how I became where I am.
No, it's good. You were like answering questions that I had like along the way, and I'm like, okay, okay. I'm like, so, but you meant you touched on so many good things, and that was, let's see, let's go back to, you know, a lot of women deal with guilt when it comes to prioritizing their wellness. And like you were saying, I just want to go to bed, but you were like, no, I'm gonna look for, the yoga studio. And how would you tell, or what would you tell the woman who is trying to overcome that guilt when it comes to prioritizing their own health?
Well, the biggest thing is if we don't like you have to step back and say, okay, if I don't prioritize my health, where am I going to be tomorrow? Where am I going to be next week? Where am I going to be next month? What are my children, if you're mom, and I'm assuming mamas who lead, you're probably a mama. What are my children going to see from me? Am
Hmm.
I teaching my children healthy things? What would you do to your child if your child was in a cycle of doubt and fear and discomfort and grump and just meh? Would you want your child to stay stuck there? This is something that I really do have to practice a lot of the time, even when I'm working with clients that are, they're working on physical transformations and they're calling themselves fat and they're calling them, they're using negative terms. And I'm like, careful with your words because your children are watching. Would you want your child to call themselves fat? Would you want your child to look in the mirror and tell themselves they're gross? Would you want your child to be stuck in a cycle of negativity, or would you want your child to pick themselves up? What would you do for your child? Do that for you. And you can't be guilty because if you don't do those things for yourself, then you're going to be stuck and you're not giving your kids your best you. You're not giving your partner your best you. You're not giving your life, you're not giving you your best you. But once you start taking those little steps, I'm telling you, just a little step, something special about you. Like even right now, think for a second and what are you proud of about yourself? And I don't want to I don't want you to think I'm not proud of anything. Okay, well, did you wake up this morning? Did you get your kids ready? Did you brush your teeth this morning? Sometimes you have to dig because sometimes it's hard, but everything you do for yourself, even if it's a longer shower or like listening to music during your shower, and I'm trying to think different stages of moms. You know how it goes, Laura, where you got little ones, and sometimes it's really hard if you've got infants. And oosh, my first one, man, he did not like to be put down. Not at all. And I remember I'd put him in his little vibrating, bouncy seat thingy, and I'd still take a bath. I'd put him in there, like in the room with me. And if he
Yep.
start fussing, I'd just reach over the side of the tub and kind of like, you are
Catch you.
fine.
You're fine. I'm enjoying this right now.
But we just if that's the biggest thing I think is yes, you can feel guilty for doing things for yourself. In fact, I was attacked by a dog and I've got this scarring. Now, I don't typically, this was 2 weeks ago, so it's pretty fresh. I don't typically go get facials frequently. I don't typically, do a lot of stuff outside of the home for myself. If I want a foot spa, I'll give myself a foot spa. If I want a pedicure, I like to do it. I do. I honestly do. So I'm doing this massage today. This facial massage is a full facial. I'm going 90 minutes even. Woo! Like that's something I would never, which means that's 90 minutes and it's during I homeschool. So it's during my daughter's homeschooling time. But that's okay because my husband comes home from Oklahoma tonight. I'm gonna have my face all done. I've had a rough couple weeks since this attack. Honestly, it's been hard on my mind. So it's going to be lovely and it's going to be fine and the world will continue on. But sometimes you have to just say, if I don't do these special things for myself, if I don't love myself a little extra, then I might not lift myself out of the funk. And then you're staying in the funk. And then your kids and your partner are getting the funk. They don't want the funk. And you don't want to give them the funk. And you know that. Like, when you're being grumpy and your energy is low, the whole household energy is low. And then it doesn't feel good. And then you're like in this cycle. So
Yeah.
break the cycle. Go do something for you. Daily walk. Like that's something I've been making sure to do lately is daily walks. And I'm not normally a walker. I'm a yogi. I'm a lifting weights kind of gal, but the walks have been nice. I take my dog, the one that was just barking over there. I take her and we go and we sniff and we have fun and it feels good just to be out and moving and fresh air and sunshine and it does something for the mood and that's a simple thing. You can bring your kids with you. If you got little ones, throw them in a stroller. If you got like my daughter, she always meets me. She always throws her helmet on, bicycle. Eventually, I hear her coming up from behind me. Like there she is. She never wants to go with me. She wants to catch up and meet me. Independence, 9 years old.
Oh yeah, that's where it starts. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So
Uh, and you were also talking about like your spouse is traveling, and so us women we do a lot on our own, and so having making sure we also still take that priority for care for ourselves too, because we take on a lot of roles, especially if, your spouse does travel quite a bit. Because you're playing, even though, you're playing your other partner too at the same time, mom, dad, and both roles while the one is away. And it's a lot on our plate and at times can be so stressful. Um, is there what do you think your biggest challenge you've overcome in your mental health and what did that teach you?
patience.
Mm,
Patience. That is definitely the number one thing I have worked on because and a lot of people that know me now are like, well, I tell them stories. Like they get to be my girlfriends, like my real girlfriends, where we go on girls' trips and stuff. And I'm like, oh, one time. And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So when I was 19 to 23, I was in college and then I was independent doing my thing. I was not very nice. I was nice, but I was also insane. And I just didn't care. I was one of those women that would work until midnight, go out until 4, go to college, go to work, go out. Like it was a cycle of very not so awesome behaviors and did not treat my body well at all. But I also in this like somebody would do something or say something and I also did a lot of grappling and submission fighting and sometimes that would carry honestly that sometimes that would carry out in my personal life and that's just not I'm not a very pleasant young woman and so I was a very short fuse. Like everything was short fuse. You do something that bothered me, it was like, phew. And then I had a child. Then I got married and I had a child. And my short fuse was still there. So I'm dealing with a child. I'm the second oldest of 6 children, by the way. So I've had to be parent figure for a very long time and I never wanted kids. I really didn't. It's so funny to think. But I met my husband and my goodness, he was so cute and I could just imagine having babies with him in exclusion. And so I changed my mind. And but
sorry,
anyway,
guys.
so
They do that to us.
I was like, not having kids, 100%, never in the future. Now I have 3 and I love them dearly and I'm so thankful. I can't even imagine not. But anyway, so there's the short fuse. And so with Maverick, having him and coming from a fighting and sometimes like professionally, but like this aggressive, loud, not so thoughtful of feelings person
Hmm.
to now I'm a mother who has a child who throws fits, and you know, you have to go through all the, you have to, you can't put them in a submission hold. I mean, that's not allowed. So
Come on.
I and he was really needy, super, super needy. I have so many videos of like, you know, like on the big camcorder thing, I had like
Oh
old
yeah.
tapes of me, Aaron, like coming out, and I've got Maverick strapped to my chest as I'm cooking dinner, like the 101, don't cook at the stove with a child to your chest, 100% all the time, because
I've done
otherwise,
that.
right? I was gonna listen to him scream, no thanks, for my mental stability and
Nope.
his safety. We're gonna strap him. But
Hey,
anyway,
we make it work. We make it
it
work.
worked. Sometimes, hey, you know what? It's like the co-sleeping, the debate with co-sleeping. You know what made my life easy? Having my baby next to me.
Me
Some
too.
women, I understand that wouldn't work if you're a deep sleeper. No, that probably is not wise. But I wake up from the drop of a dime. It's fine.
Same.
Anyway, so I got Chris. What was his? I cannot think of his last name. Chris something. Thomas Thompson. Chris Thompson. Wow, I can't believe I remembered that. He had a I don't remember. And I was poor back then. I was a teacher's assistant. I didn't even have a I didn't have a teacher's job yet. I was an assistant. I was making like $14,500 annually. My husband had gone back to college, so we were like poor. But I had a paying son. Like he was driving me nuts. So I invested, I think it was like $37. And I got this Chris Thompson's Parenting Troubled Difficult Toddlers or something. And I was learning. I'd never learned how to be a parent, you know, like I just did what my mom and dad did, whether or not that was good or bad. I didn't know a lot of other parents. Never really was a conversation, honestly. Like, how do you parent effectively? What do you do when your child just refuses to listen and screams? You know, I didn't know, but I don't like to be stuck where I'm not comfortable. I always want to get better. So anyway, I got the course. I went through it and I learned so much. And then I got serious. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get all the books. I'm gonna get books. I'm gonna go to the library." They were library books because again, I was poor. But I remember just putting so much into me, and so that was the biggest challenge, honestly, because at that point, I didn't go through postpartum depression, but I went through it was like postpartum regret. Like, what was I thinking? I actually shouldn't have had children. This is terrible. I should have just stuck with the idea that I was never having any and this would be happier. And you know, it wasn't depression. It was just anger. It was like anger at myself for having a kid, honestly. And I didn't
Mhm.
want that feeling. It was too late. I already had him. What was I going to do? I
There's
had
no
to
return to
make
sender.
something had to change. And so that book actually, or that training and then the books to follow really did significantly impact me on so many levels, like patience, understanding people, like it just was a slippery slope to really having more interest in psychology and more it's okay for people to not reach your expectations. Honestly, that's kind of where I was. I was like, this is how you should do things and this is how I expect you to behave. And if you don't, then what is wrong with you? You know, like that. It would, I don't know, but that was probably the biggest shift in how, who I became and who I am continuing to become was that my son being a pain in the ass. He really was. But that then the teachings he wasn't anymore. Like I started to enjoy him. I needed to work with him because I wasn't understanding him. It was very very eye-opening and then I was like, wow. You can do all kinds of things if you understand people. I'm going to understand people and most importantly, I'm going to understand myself because I don't think I did.
Yeah, that's a good, I mean, that's a good point.
Mm,
Like understanding yourself.
mm.
Are there any other resources that you can recommend that helped you through this journey, through also, mindset and wellness? What has helped you get to here besides those two, that book, and then you mentioned the doula that you had as well.
Yep.
What else?
Gail Oaks, my doula, she's pushing 80 these days. Like
Oh, wow.
she's getting up there, but she's still spry and she's able, you know. Um, currently I like to listen to Rob Dial, mindset mentor. I like to listen to Gabby Bernstein. She does a lot of Like affirmations and manifestation stuff. She blends all different religions. She started off Christian based. I think now it's more like universalist type of stuff. But you just keep an open mind and whatever you believe. This is what I always say for you guys. Anybody that you want to listen to, first of all, just Google. Who do I give me a good podcast or give me a good YouTube channel if I'm looking for and whatever you're looking for. And then my suggestion, because earlier in my personal growth, I have my own beliefs and my beliefs are my beliefs, period. And when I was younger, I remember I would listen to people that would very strongly say they would talk about their beliefs and that this is right and this is right. And I'd get so irritated, I couldn't even continue the book. I was like, oh, they're white and black. I can't stand it. We have to be open-minded. I am a strong advocate for open minds. And I, but then I shifted somewhere in the journey. I thought, well, these people are so, it's like their belief of their belief is so strong. Commend them for believing in something so much. And whatever they're talking about, let's say it's Buddha or Jesus or God or what gods, whatever they're talking about with such vindication that they believe and they have such powerful beliefs about. If you don't believe in the same things they believe, it doesn't mean they don't have a great message. I would pause and say, okay, good for them for believing in that so much. I'm going to take what they're talking about and I'm going to put that toward what I believe in, but it's still the same thing. I mean, it's always the same thing, whatever. So that's what I would suggest because you're going to find a lot of people that have very strong religious beliefs, and it might not be your same religion, but I would say go in with an open mind and listen because some of them are like, oh gosh, I can't think of the author, but the book is called Believe Bigger. She's a beautiful black woman. Gosh, I cannot think of. Do you know who I'm talking about? Believe
Yeah,
Bigger.
I think I have our book. Oh, I
I
can't think.
love her. I love her so much. And she's incredibly Christian based, which aligns pretty well with me. But I know a lot of people are like, ah, too much God. And I'm like, well, just think of, she loves God. Like, she really loves God. What do you love? Apply it to whatever you love. Same concept, same message.
Is it Marshana? Marshawn? No, I think it
I,
might be Marshawn. Daniels? Marshawn?
I honestly don't even know if I would know because I'm listening to it on, I read it before, but I'm listening to it on Audible. And so I don't even, I just see her pretty picture and she's gorgeous and it's Believe
Yeah.
Bigger. I'm gonna
Yes,
write.
it's Marshawn Daniels. She has an incredible story too. If you've read like her book, like her, like how, like incredible story. But yeah, I agree. Like total being open-minded. I studied religions of the Orient in college. I just wanted to know why and what other people believe. Even though
Yeah.
I'm very solid in my faith,
Mhm.
I believe wholeheartedly to be open-minded to hear and
Mhm.
understand why certain people believe the way they do, but be
Yeah.
grounded in your own faith.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
that's
That's
amazing.
cool. Hmm.
And I forgot where I was going with this. So speaking of like you were talking about like faith and um being open-minded, that was it, open-minded to different resources
Hmm.
to help with mental health and habits and mindset. Have any of your friendships and relationships changed as you've gone on this journey?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I hate saying this. It's a terrible phrase, but you outgrow some people. You
Mm.
do outgrow some people. And one thing that I find that's sad, but reality is a lot of colleagues, and I'm sure you notice this too, a lot of colleagues end up in divorce because when we are in the industry of becoming the best versions of ourselves, and truly we are, we're entrepreneurs, we have to become the best, most dream bigging versions of our possible. Like you have to be. And so mamas who lead, you have to be. You guys have to believe bigger. Like that book, you really do. And a lot of the times people are already in a marriage where they were aligned when they got married, and then their partner doesn't want to grow. And their partner is like, I don't know about this. Who are you? Because we do change. We do grow. We do become more in tune with ourselves and our words and our thoughts and our beliefs and everything just explodes. And so relationships I mean, sometimes it is your partner. And then it's like, man. you actually do have to get divorced if they won't join. That's terrible. But you do see, like I have so many amazing women in my life that they had to leave their partner. It's never they wanted to, but they just outgrew them and their partner did not want to come with them on their journey of growth. Now that's like the worst. Now your friends, it's a little different. Like I have friends that they're still my friends, but they are not, I call my heart friends. I've got my heart friends. They get it. Like I can have these deep conversations. We can like get all teary and excited and be like, yes, the future and who and what we can be and the impact we can have and those excited conversations that I love to have with my heart friends. And then of course I've got my other friends that some of them surely think I'm crazy. And I'm from a very large family, one of 6 kids, some a big family. My mom was one of 10. My dad was one of 17. I have over 100 cousins. So they, a lot of them look at me and they're like, wow, Rachel, she's out there. But I don't care. I don't care at all. I love me and I love where I've gone. I love where I continue to go. I understand that people don't get it. I do. I understand that it's easier to stay stuck in the this is my life. This is what it was. This is what it is. This is what it will be. And that's that. I don't need to go bigger. I don't need to go better. I am fine the way I am. And if they, and as you get bigger and when I say bigger, I mean in your heart and in your mind, you see those people in more of a, for me, I'm just like, oh, that's too bad. Like that, it's too bad that you, that you think you're fine. But at the same time, if they think they're fine, then they're fine. It's whatever they believe. However, when you have those deeper conversations and they're like, yeah, I dread going to bed. I dread waking up. I hate my job. I hate my life. And then you're like, you're not fine. But again, they perceive that as normal and fine. So, I'm not going to try to impact them. Like if they're fine, they're fine. But that's not my fine. And so girls' trips become a little different these days. You go with the ones that lift and empower instead of drag you down and talk about all the terrible things that are happening in their life nonstop. I don't like to spend a lot of time around people like that. And it really is too bad because a lot of my dear people that I've known forever are there. But I do find, Laura, that, and I'd be interested to hear how you deal with that because I'm sure you have people that you love that do a lot of, it's kind of like woe is me. They might not acknowledge it, but kind of. And a lot of the times my father-in-law says he's number one school psychologist in New York State. He's an amazing man. And
That's awesome.
oh gosh, he's amazing. My husband's mother and her husband are amazing. It's her second husband, but gosh, they're incredible humans. And he says, whenever you're talking to somebody that just doesn't get it, you just smile and nod. And you don't have to be quiet. You can say something like, you don't say. And leave it at that.
Right.
Like, I love it. Instead of engaging in an argument or going into debate, like a lot of the times it's useless, it's pointless, but we can just, you don't say, and move on with our life. Don't let it eat at you because otherwise, I mean, we all would get guilty of that. Sometimes it's like, how could they possibly say that or believe that? But it doesn't impact you. Their words don't impact you. Their thoughts don't impact you. You will impact you if you let it eat at you. But other than that, it's like, nah, it's okay. It's okay. We're not on the same journey, and that's okay. I don't have to live with them. And then that's when it comes back to the partner thing. That's really too bad. But
And it's funny that you mentioned that about, the relationships and, your partner. And as the one changes, as they're going through this personal development, and they're becoming better version of themselves, and that one partner just stays. I had a guest, we were talking, she does, well, it was a couple of episodes back on the podcast. You guys can listen to it. I can't remember her name offhand right now, mom brain right now. But she does executive matchmaking.
ooh,
And it was really fascinating, like the long list of questions, like literally they ask them and like it's a very thorough interview process. And I was just kind of mind blown with that because when I dated, I dated for a purpose. Like I only for the most part, I had college. College was a fun experience,
right.
but let's just go.
That
But
was just whatever.
whatever. But I actually, when I was dating, like it was a purpose, and like so I thoroughly interviewed these people that I would date, and if we were not synced by any means, Like we weren't going anywhere. Now, but I think a lot of people, and that was what she was saying on there, that a lot of people don't do that when they're dating. It's more of an attraction, and they just kind of go with it, and then they get into it, and then they're like, oh, we're not really synced, and they have all these issues. And then when this person is trying to better themselves, that's where those issues come across. And
Yeah.
so it's very fascinating that you mentioned that too, while you're going on this journey. And also relationships, you were talking about like the negativity. I've had people that I love, and I can just that, but it is always negative, and it just like I'm an empath, and so like I just can
Ooh.
feel that energy, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I love you, but if you can't see that, if you keep saying you're fat, you're ugly, all of these negative things about yourself, guess what? That's what you feel, and you're putting that out there. It's like just stop, like look at the positive. Like you are beautiful. You got up this morning. You got your
Mhm.
baby's dress. That is
Mhm.
a win. And it's just I just wish more people would see that and see how effective personal development can truly be, as
Yeah.
Rachel is saying.
Mhm.
Like it is so important that we do it. Now, what does your morning routine look like? Like, how has that
Ooh.
evolved?
Love my morning routine. I'm excited to share. So, some years ago, my business partner and I were we were talking about growing. Like, okay, let's focus our time and our energy on certain areas, da da da. And we decided to do the Miracle Morning with Hal Enrod.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I think I'm saying it right, Hal Enrod or
Yes.
Elrod, something. And so we read the book and we started practicing it. And we did it with our team. We were all like, okay, let's do the Miracle Morning. And I'll tell you, I hated it. I hated it. But I was like, I am dedicated. I am going to do this. And for me, I give everything I try a solid 30 days. Like I give everything a solid
That's
30 days
good.
because, you might end up liking it after 30 days. So I did it 30 days and I was like, I don't hate it anymore. Still don't love it. I'm going to do it another 30 days. Did it another 30 days. So I was 2 months in and I was like, yeah, still don't love it. So, and then I read the book again. I was listening, I'm Audible. So I was listening to it again. I'm like, all right, maybe I missed something. How is this so not pleasant for me? It sounds on paper like it's going to be the best. So those of you who don't know, the Miracle Morning is basically it's 60, you set your alarm, you get up 60 minutes earlier than you normally would. You do meditation or prayer, you do movement, you do hydration, you do personal development, you do journaling, all broken into segments. Now, I think because I am a black and white type A, like you tell me what to do and I'm going to do it without making it my own. Well, I can't say I am. I have had history of being that way. I don't want to be that way. So, anyway, I read it again. Like a year later, I stopped. I stopped after 60 days. I was done. But then I was like, I did get a lot accomplished back when I did that. I'm going to try a modification. And as I was reading it the second time, I wasn't doing it anymore. Like I was reading it, I was doing it. I hit 60 days. I kept reading the book, but I stopped doing the Miracle Morning. I was just still listening because I like listening to him. And so the last, since March, actually, March is when I started implementing this modified technique of I wake up, I do not touch my phone. I actually wake up beautifully, but I've been treating my body really, really well. I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, no, no abuse. You fuel your body. You do not poison it with alcohol. I do drink alcohol, just very rarely. But anyway, I've been treating my body well, and I noticed that I wake up much brighter and bushy-tailed. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed? Yes. And I have my water. I keep a water, and I actually have a health group it's just mini challenges and stuff, just a free little group. I like to help people feel better without feeling like they have to hit the gym and go to cycle class and CrossFit and all these heavy things. Like, no, just like move your body. So, anyway, I I always encourage people to keep a glass of water on your nightstand. Room temperature water in the morning is great. Helps your bowels get moving. We shouldn't be having ice water in the morning anyway. So keep the water on your bedside stand. You wake up first thing, take 15 swallows, get your body hydrated. You've been dehydrated all night long. We need those cells to be movable here. So anyway, hydration first thing. I say kind of like a prayer, kind of like a gratitude thing. Thank you, Jesus, for, whatever you believe, again. But it's just thanking for waking up, thanking for my home. I tell people, I think in a past life I was a veteran that lost their marbles, and was homeless. Ended up, I really do. I do. I'm telling you, I've had it my whole life. If I hear planes, even as a 40-year-old woman, I hear a plane and I get a little anxious. And apparently my older sister and my mom say when I was little, I'd be like running for the barracks, like terrified when I hear planes or thunder. Thunder I like, planes I still don't like. I like flying. I just don't like the sound. And I have the most ridiculous gratitude for a home, heat, air conditioning, bed, smooth sheets, pillows. Like every night I get butterflies. Like even just saying that, I got butterflies in my belly of like, oh, I love home. Like I love comfort. It's ridiculous. I really do think I have some trauma in a past life here because I did not grow up homeless. So I don't know where it came from. But anyway. So I like really get cozy. I really think of how thankful I am to have my home. I think of how thankful I am for my health, for my children, just focusing on whatever you're thankful for. And then I do stretches right in my bed. I do stretches. I get my body moving. I lubricate the joints. I get up. I like intentionally flex and move all of my body parts and then I brush my teeth and I put some water on my face and then I go about, but that's it. I make it simple now. I don't do all of the journaling. I don't do like the workout. I don't do all of that. But my morning routine takes about 15 minutes, but it's my time. It's like, okay, you're hydrating, you're doing a good job for your body, and you really do feel the difference. And so then when I'm up and about, I feel like I've been up for hours. Like I'm just like up. I don't know. It works really well for me. Is that focus on gratitude, that moving your body, that hydrating your body, that putting the water on your face and getting your teeth nice and clean. I don't know. It's just that's my morning routine and it works really well for me. I don't touch my phone in that time. I no phone.
I think that's key. Not touching your phone, putting your, I think the gratitude piece is really key too. Like it just starts your day with positivity and thankfulness and
Yeah.
um it's just a good routine. And I love that book too. Like I always taught on it, always coached on
Mm-hmm.
it, and it does make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel better when I'm up and doing things, but before I have to. If I'm like sleeping to an alarm where I have like the bare minimum to like you need to get going, it's
Yeah.
like I'm rushed. The kids are rushed. I'm frazzled and I don't like that. If I do intentional, like it's 60 minutes earlier or even 30 minutes, it just is such a blessing it brings so much more peace, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, because it is terrible. Like my boys now, they go to we've done homeschool and charter school through their whole life. We traveled to Europe, so we did homeschooling then, and then we just stayed homeschooling, and we really liked it. Um, so now they're older, 17 and 14. They get ready in the morning. They drive themselves to school. Like they just do their thing. I don't even have to be part of it. Thank God, because they leave at 10 to 7. Like they start school really early. I'm not a
Same.
morning person. My 9-year-old is homeschooled. So we do have much more flexibility, but I do know, like I start my work day at 9. I like to get workouts in beforehand. If I'm going to have breakfast, I don't always have breakfast, but sometimes I do. I like that to be beforehand. But I do find remembering back when the kids were in charter school and I had to drive them and do the carpool because they weren't public buses at charter. Um, if I had their stuff ready the night before, lunch is packed the nights before, shoes, the mysterious shoes that are always missing, at least one, those are by the door. These little teeny things that can get your morning started better. Like, okay, we're gonna wake up and give ourselves even like realistically, some of you might be listening and you're like, an hour early? No, I'm not doing that. I already wake up at 6. I'm not waking up at 5. Okay, what about 5:45 instead of 6? And give yourself just that 15 minutes to like give yourself some time and give yourself some relaxation before because like Laura said it really does set the tone for the day. If our day is starting off like where is your shoe, where is your other shoe, I don't know mom, how do you lose one shoe, I don't know mom, where's your backpack, halfway to school, your backpack, you left it at the house, like that's what your day is going to be. And we've all been there. I mean, shoot, how many times
Mhm.
I've done this where I'm like, this has to stop. Backpacks, shoes, you guys need a little cubby by the door. I want to see that stuff. Checklist off before you go to bed at night. But those things really do, those tiny little habits, habit stacking, you can
Yes.
add to your day just to help you throughout the day because Lord knows we need help with stress management.
Like save yourself some heartache. Like,
Yes.
it's going to be chaotic. Let's just Let's cut some of the chaos out, right?
Yes, that 100%. Yep.
Well, okay. What, let me see here. I have like a list of questions I wrote down that I wanted to like ask you. I know we've been on here a while, but I'm loving this
I know,
conversation.
I'm enjoying it.
Um, oh, what what values are important to you when you think about the kind of business impact you want to build?
Mm. What values are important to me that I have, the business I want to build? Well, I'm not sure what kind of answer you're looking for, but I'll just share with you and you can tell me what if you're looking for something different. So for me, it is very important for me because I do build a business, I do coaching, I lead a large team, um, mostly women. I do have a few men. I attract women. The men that I have are my downline's downline. I do prefer to work with women. I'm sorry, it's just who I am. But I like them to feel like they're in a safe space. So some values and I've learned in my career, been in this industry for over a decade now. It is important to encourage and build belief and hope and put the kibosh to the nonsense. And so, and I speak this way because I was partnered somewhere before where there was a lot of and I was younger too. I was later 20s, early 30s, and there was a lot of, oh, she said this or she did that and da 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 da. And then it would be tell her, tell her, tell her, tell her. And everybody was just nah. And then the whole team was like, nah. And there was this like negative energy buzz, and it just was not fun. It wasn't fun for me as the leader. It wasn't fun for my team. It was like everybody felt uncomfortable. So it's always like if I have somebody that has an issue, it's always, have you spoken to the person you have an issue with? Would you like me to mediate with you? We can do a three-way chat. You know, it's empowering. So that I guess the value would be like positive communication and thoughtfulness and kindness. And this is something that we must have. And the same thing goes with our clients. You know, you get somebody that wants to purchase your products or your services, give them love too. Everybody gets the love and support. And it's just like, honestly, Laura, it's as simple as being a really good human. That's that. Supporting people, uplifting people, saying kind words. Actually, my team mantra, I have to read this to you because when I partnered with my company, I just partnered in April because I was with a company that went bankrupt and they just shut the doors. And that was my full-time income. I was expecting a very large check that I wasn't going to get. And I'm like, okay, what now? So I had some bitterness. Anyway, I partnered immediately. And I have to read this to you because I would like you, those of you who lead teams, this mantra, Ashton Beisel, by the way, she's my
Oh,
mama
love
bear.
her. Love her.
Oh gosh, she's an amazing woman. Wait till you hear the mantra she writes. This is her team. She got this for us. Little notebook in
Oh, that's
Dallas.
so sweet.
Where there is unity, there is a blessing. Where there is no fun, there is no one. We work hard and we play hard. We will never sell the dream without actually living it. Our families come first. We don't compete or compare. We uplift and speak life always. When you walk out of the room, you can rest knowing you are always spoken highly of. We are inclusive. We take extreme ownership in every situation. We give the benefit of the doubt. We create the most incredible atmosphere for people who thrive and have the most fun they have ever had in business. And I'm telling you, when you lead your team that way, you can't not win. Like you can't not win as long as you live by it. Now, it's one thing to throw that out there and be a turd, and there's another to throw that out there and live by it and talk about it every week with your people, because then you're going to have these people that maybe they had a little bit of belief, maybe they weren't even on a personal development journey, but all of a sudden they start going on a journey with you. And then, like, for me, my experience in this with this team is I'm watching people that used to not be so positive. You know, they do a lot of negative focus. They maybe would talk about other people and then be nice to them. You know what I mean? Those types of people. They might have been that, and now they're like amazing. They're amazing. And they get to be on my, like, I get to surround myself with people like this all the time. And so those of you leaders, you get to, when you choose to be this way, you get to kind of mold. I call myself big sis. They all know I'm big sis. I'm younger than a lot of them. I have a lot of 50s, 60s year old teammates. I'm still big sis. because I am big sis. I am here for you. You have something to complain about? Come on in. Give me, I'll be your soundboard and I will not repeat. I will help you work through it. I will help you if you want to have a conversation with this person or if you just want to let it go. I'm going to help you with that. And that really is a huge power move to have, like in your business. Be the big sis, be the confidant, be the safe place for your team, and don't ever feed the negativity. I'm telling you, that was, and I used to, I didn't mean to, I didn't even realize I was doing it, but reflecting, I was like, oh yeah, well, that's probably why my team started to fizzle away. And it, you just have to be aware of it. But
I love
yeah.
that. Yes, that I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think
Mm-hmm.
having a mantra like that and something and living by walking that
Mm-hmm.
walk is so key. And it makes a huge impact. You're just going to see that live through your entire organization and or those you associate with. You are the sum of the five people that you associate yourself with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're surrounded by that, then just goodness comes and flows through that.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, like, what is the most beautiful transformation you've witnessed in a woman that you've mentored, and what made that so powerful?
Ooh, ooh. I'm gonna get teary on this one. You even said the woman you mentored. I think it's gotta be Rachel Snyder. I'm gonna shout her out because she'll appreciate it. She'll want to listen to this for sure. She has been in my life for 5 years, I believe. I met her at another company. She was a sideline somewhere, but when I go to company events, always and forever, I am the flittering butterfly, table to table, sharing all the goodies, soaking up all the goodies. I love going to events and doing that. And so I meet a lot of people, and she was one of them. And I liked her. I thought she was funny. She was super funny. She wasn't into self-growth or anything like that. She was just there. I don't even know if she was like a big leader or anything. I honestly didn't, I don't know where she was in that company because she wasn't under me or anything, but I liked her. We had some drinks together. We laughed together. She was super funny. And then last year, was it last year? Yes, last July. So we continued talking on Facebook. Okay. We're just whatever, talking on Facebook, still having a relationship. The company had nothing to do with it. I wasn't even with that company anymore, but she was coming to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. It was like a 4 hour drive for me, but she was like, hey, I'm going to go to the Outer Banks. I would love to see you. I hadn't seen her in a while because I had left that company. And I said, yeah, sure. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, it's like 4 hours, but no big deal. I'll drive over and see you. And my daughter and I drove over and got to meet her, like got to meet her kids, got to meet her husband, got to meet her mom. And her mom actually was a customer of mine, and so was Rachel. She was a customer of mine for my supplements that I had partnered with. And she 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 was fun, but she had a little bit of a negativity thing, but I could tell she's like my baby sister. She really is. I could tell she didn't necessarily want to do that. And there were things she was saying and things she was doing that she wanted to be better. And I was like, yeah, like I remember being where she is. Like I can see the beauty in this woman right here. Like I can see it. And so, and she was struggling with her health. She had a lot of weight that she just was struggling with. She didn't like her reflection, and she'd get defeated because we go on a diet. We try to
Yeah.
eat clean. Darn it, those cookies keep calling, and the break room is doing its thing. And the 2 pounds a month that isn't fast enough. I want to lose 20 pounds a month. you know. So a lot of mindset I had to do with her in that part of the world. Was it last summer? I can't remember if it was 2024 or three. Either way, it was fairly recent when that we started doing this thing. And then she partnered with me. She decided to partner with me. And she was like, I want to be my best. Like I want to be the best. Actually, she's like, I want to be like you. And I'm like, well, I want you to be your best too. So I would give her podcast ideas. I would give her books, whatever. That was within, I think it was like last year. It was either last year or 2 years ago, but I'm pretty sure it was last year. Oh my gosh, it was. It was 100% last year. And it just seems like it's been so long because now, okay, first of all, her physical transformation has been incredible. She has really embraced food is fuel, movement is good for my mind and my body, like these types of things. But she's partnered, she when I came over to this company, she came over to this company. She is my side-by-side leader. She posts podcast episodes in our group chat all the time. She hosts, if I can't, we do Saturday morning calls every Saturday, but I was in Cancun for a company trip 2 Saturdays ago. She took it upon herself to host the call. She's like, everybody, I still want to see you. Like the woman she has stepped into as this leading, confident, I just she makes me so happy. She has Oh, I can't wait to see where she goes. You know those people that they just start into this journey of bettering themselves and they're just soaring and you're like, "Oh my gosh, where are you going to end up going? This is crazy." That's her.
That's amazing. I love hearing these type of stories to see like how, they've transformed and how much personal development really helps people.
Hmm.
Like truly powerful. Oh my gosh, Rachel, this conversation has been so incredible. And I know our listeners, they're gonna walk away with something with like practical wisdom and maybe more importantly, permission to prioritize themselves without guilt, right?
Hmm.
But before we wrap up, is there anything else you would love to share with our listeners?
I feel like I've shared so much, Laura. I'm like, oh, bless your hearts. I hope you have the ability. You hopefully you listened back at like 1.5 times because my goodness, we can talk, and I could talk. I feel like I could talk to you all day long. The biggest thing, really, truly, you are a priority.
Mm.
Every one of you, you are a priority. You cannot actually. Should I pitch my book? I'm not even. I actually took it.
Yes,
I took it off,
absolutely.
but you filling your own cup, the mindset shift. You cannot pour from an empty cup. We know you cannot pour from an empty cup. You have got to fill yourself. You cannot depend on your external, your partner, your friends, your kids, your boss. You cannot depend on somebody else making you feel good. It is okay for you to make yourself feel good. In fact, it is encouraged. And then remember, when you show yourself love and you demonstrate positive self-talk and positive, you're loving yourself, your family, your friends, your kids in particular are going to see this as normal behavior, and your kids are going to grow up with positive communication skills, with the ability to love themselves, with big goals and big dreams because they watch their mama do it, and you're teaching them that this is normal. That is, I think that if you can just hold that close as you can to yourself, like that will help you love yourself really truly because of course you want your kids to do that. So show them how it's done. Show them how it's done. We don't have to be back when we were raised in the 80s and 90s, or some of you maybe 60s and 70s, probably not. Maybe. Um, but think of we live in a beautiful world. A lot of people complain about where times have gone and where we're going and the changes, and our childhood isn't so wholesome. Well, you know what's awesome is that women are more aware of our ability to love ourselves and our right to do so, our permission to do so. We do not have to be the way that our parents and our grandparents were. We have, it's more normal and more embraced to love yourself without being ashamed and without feeling guilt about it. Like it's okay. And I look forward to imagine our children's generation. I think with so many of us really focusing on building ourselves up ourselves, that we're going to make an impact on the generations. I already see it in my kids. Like I see my boys like I don't know. I see a difference in them than I saw when I was teaching and I had kids, students that age, and I was like, man, I see a huge difference even in that 20 years. It's a big difference. So I don't know. I think you got this. Do it for you, do it for your kids, do it for your grandkids. It's okay to love yourself and it's okay. It's not an ego thing, it's not a boastful thing. You deserve to be loved. You only have one life. Live it your best.
Oh, amen. Amen. That is so powerful. You got this. You got this,
Yep.
ladies. Okay, so I want to make sure everyone knows how to connect with you and continue learning from your heart and expertise. So how can they reach you?
Best way is Facebook. They can also go to theracheltown.com, but you have to make sure you throw the A in my name, Rachael. Grandma used to say, Rachael, you spelled her name wrong, Diane, which is my mother. But I think the easiest way is Rachel on Facebook. If you just even type Rachael Town, even if you spell it wrong, I think it's probably going to direct you to my Facebook account. I'm very active. I do a lot of live videos on there. I do a lot of empowerment videos on there. And then in my bio, you can like go to my website. You can go to their private Facebook group. We do a lot of, it's called Full Health and Wellness Education and Support. It truly is a full health and wellness education and support. We do many challenges. We do mental health. We do better sleep, better fuel, like meal plans every Friday, like all kinds of free resources for you guys in there. I understand not everybody can afford products. I do partner with a company. If you can't afford products, that's okay. You don't need to. You can still use food as fuel and do your best by, daily movement, little teeny things. So that's where I would suggest people find me, Laura.
Perfect. And if you guys check the show notes, I'll have all of her information there too, so that you can just click and it'll take you right to her. So, oh my gosh, this has been such a powerful conversation, Rachel. And if you're listening and feeling inspired to finally prioritize your wellness without extreme guilt, you're not alone. And remember, taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's essential for the leader, the mom, and the woman you're called to be. And the truth is, you can't lead others well if you're running on empty, and you can't pour into your family, your business, or your calling if you haven't filled your cup first. So, Rachel has shown us that sustainable wellness isn't about perfection, it's about progress, grace, small, consistent. Those little steps, they compound into transformation. And to all my mamas who lead community, this is your permission slip to start small, start today, and start with compassion for yourself. You deserve to feel energized, confident, and strong. You deserve to lead from a place of abundance and not depletion. So make sure you connect with Rachel and dive deeper into all of her amazing resources. And if this episode resonated with you, will you please share it with another mom who needs to hear this message too? So together we're rewriting the rules of motherhood, leadership, and what it means to truly thrive. So until next time, keep leading, keep growing, and keep believing in what is possible.